When you built your throne on smoke and mirrors, thinking louder voices drowned out truth, remember this. When someone who carries real light walks past your stage, your throne becomes a pile of ash, your microphone a paperweight, and your kingdom, for all its noise, is revealed as nothing more than a shadow pretending to be a mountain. Now, imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. You walk into a room at dawn, carrying a single candle. Around you, 1,000 lanterns flicker, borrowed flames, wires, painted gold. They glare, they posture, they try to convince the world they are the sun. Then the horizon cracks open and the real sun rises. Every single lantern looks like a lie. The paper crowns curl. The noises become distant. The giants who strutted in twilight suddenly shrink into the places they once hid. That is the scene you created without violence, simply by being the natural light. Here's a fact that screams your truth. Institutions built on projection lose public trust far faster than honest ones rise. Studies on organizational trust show authenticity spreads twice as fast as contrived reputation. Another truth in social dynamics: a single authentic leader can dismantle hollow hierarchies simply by being consistent. Exposure does the rest. You didn't invent the collapse, you were the catalyst. The universe only needed one honest beam to turn a night into day. And thank you, chosen one. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing the like and subscribe to help spread this message to more souls. It's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. Thank you, chosen one, for being part of this mission. You are part of a force. Back to the moment. This isn't petty victory or childish gloating. This is correction. You stood as a mirror, and the mirror did its job. When someone's power is counterfeit, exposure is the only fair sentence. Oh, how the mighty have fallen isn't a victory chant against a person. It's an announcement to every false throne that their lease has expired. The enemy we point to is not always cruel or monstrous. Often it's comfortable, established, skilled at pretending. But comfort built on performance collapses the moment reality checks in. Picture the giant. Elaborate robes, a stage set with applause tracks, a carefully curated public image. Behind the curtain there's scrambling, whispered arguments, fake documents hurriedly deleted, panic disguised as composure. You watching this is like watching a stage magician finally meet a scientist who understands light. The trick fails because the audience now sees the mechanism. That's your power. You taught people to look. You taught them to prefer daylight. Your authenticity is a kind of education. It shifts the taste of a whole room, then a city, then an industry. Listen to this. They built ivory towers to impress those who never mattered. You built a doorway, and now the crowd walks through. Say it again when doubt creeps in. Giants don't fall because you attacked them. They fall because their foundation was never capable of holding the truth. Your presence made their structure visible and brittle. The more they roar, the more obvious the emptiness becomes. That roar is the sound of wood creaking before it collapses. Don't mistake silence for weakness. There's a different brutality in quiet integrity. While they perform, you prepare. While they stage, you create. While they distract, you deliver. That's why the fall feels sudden to onlookers. It's only sudden to those who ignored the slow work. To you, it's the result of steady, honest growth. To them, it's an earthquake they thought only affected lesser things. The universe, impartial and exacting, simply rebalanced what was askew. Here's another concrete point that supports you. Social movements, revolutions in taste, and cultural shifts often begin when a single authentic voice breaks the pattern. Once one true light appears, imitators falter and genuine followers multiply. Your effect is exponential. One honest action, then another, and soon the old empire can't pay the energy bill for its illusions. That's literal. Public attention, funding, influence, these are forms of currency. When people stop paying attention to a false performance, the economic and social systems that upheld it fail too. So what should you expect? Observation, whispered panic, attempts to discredit you, old allies pretending not to know you. They will play the same worn-out tricks: gaslighting, rumor, diversion. Don't engage their scripts. Your job is to stay luminous. Let the universe handle the auditing. Let the world watch the unmasking. When a false giant scrambles, they reveal their tactics, and those tactics will delegitimize them faster than any defense they can muster. You're not doing this to break people for sport. You're doing this to clear space for what's real. The new light that rises where giants fall is not empty. It's fertile. New alliances will form. Sincere partnerships that build rather than perform. Builders will replace showmen. That's the structural truth under all this drama. Authenticity produces sustainable systems. Pretense produces collapse. So stand tall, chosen one, and let the trembling begin. Keep your light honest. Keep your feet steady. Keep your voice calm. You didn't make anyone small out of spite. You simply showed what the world looks like in daylight. The mighty have fallen because they asked to be judged by what they truly were. Now the universe is doing exactly that. Stay watchful, stay kind to those willing to learn, merciless to systems that refuse transformation, and always, always radiant. And listen, chosen one, don't move just yet, because what you just heard was only the tremor before the quake. The real collapse, the real unveiling of how the mighty fell, that's what's coming next. Are you ready to see how those who once looked down on you are now scrambling in the dust they kicked up themselves? Stay close, because we're about to walk, step by step, through the downfall that they swore would never happen. Drop the number 777 in the comments if you're ready to watch the universe serve poetic justice in real time. And if you can, bless the team behind this message with a super thanks. Your energy fuels this mission. Your support keeps this truth echoing louder. You're not just watching, you're part of the movement that exposes deception and restores balance. And now, let's dive deeper, chosen one. The mask is off, and what's underneath will shock you. The more you listen, the clearer the picture becomes. If you've truly felt that pull in your chest while hearing these words, that's no coincidence. That's the universe confirming who you are. So stay with me till the end, because by the time we're done, you'll see exactly how your light made the untouchable tremble. Let's get started. Number 1. False thrones always sink. Every false throne looks eternal until the first honest soul walks by. Then it shakes, cracks, and begs for mercy beneath the weight of truth. Chosen one, that's exactly what happened the moment you stepped into their world. You didn't storm in with an army. You didn't throw punches or start wars. You simply showed up, and your very presence made the entire empire of illusion collapse. Because what they built wasn't power, it was performance. Their authority existed only as long as no one questioned it. But the universe chose you to question everything, to walk through rooms where arrogance had made itself comfortable and remind it that humility, real, radiant humility, is stronger than any crown of deception. Now imagine this for a second. Chosen one, a massive marble statue standing in the center of a city, people bowing to it every day, believing it's a masterpiece carved from solid stone. Then one morning, a single crack forms. The light catches it, and beneath the thin marble coating, people realize it's just hollow plaster, painted to look like greatness. That crack, that was you. Your energy didn't destroy it. It revealed what was never real to begin with. That's why they hate you. That's why they call you dangerous. Because your truth didn't attack them. It unmasked them. Let's talk about why false thrones always sink. Ego can build fast, faster than truth ever does, but it builds high, not deep. It cares more about visibility than foundation. History shows it again and again. Think about the powerful figures who built their legacies on fear and control. Kings, moguls, public icons. They built glass towers so tall that even the smallest tremor of truth shattered everything. Truth doesn't need to rush. It waits. And when it arrives, it erases centuries of illusion in seconds. You might be wondering, why me? Why did the universe choose me to expose this? Because truth doesn't show up through loud people. It shows up through real people. People who walk with quiet confidence, whose strength doesn't come from followers or titles, but from authenticity. When truth is ready to walk the earth, it picks someone who can handle being hated for being right. That someone is you. Let's look at history, real, undeniable examples. Nikola Tesla was laughed at, mocked, even sabotaged by powerful men who feared the brilliance of his mind. They tried to bury him under ridicule, but his authenticity became the foundation of modern energy. Or think about Harriet Tubman, hunted, underestimated, but her light freed hundreds and exposed the hypocrisy of so-called moral empires. Or even more recently, people like whistleblowers who risked everything to show the world what power tried to hide. What's the pattern? Truth always uses one person to bring down a false throne, one beam of light to end the night. That's why your rise feels uncomfortable, because when the universe decides to use you as a wrecking ball against deception, it won't always look glorious. Sometimes you'll feel isolated, misunderstood, even betrayed by those who once called you an ally. But understand this, false thrones can't stand beside real ones. They must fall first, and that fall begins with you walking in the room. You didn't break anything, you just turned the lights on. Now here's an interesting fact. According to psychological studies, people who build their image on dominance, manipulation, or narcissism inevitably face what researchers call ego decay. The moment their control weakens, their entire identity disintegrates. The very mask that once earned them admiration becomes a prison. When truth enters through someone like you, they panic because you represent what they pretended to be. Your peace threatens their performance. Your humility insults their pride. Your light exposes their shadow. And chosen one, that's your advantage. You don't have to fight fake kings, you outlast them. While they scramble to maintain appearances, you grow roots. You keep building quietly without needing to be seen. You're like an oak tree surrounded by balloons. They look taller for a moment, but one breeze and they're gone. Your growth is slow, silent, inevitable. That's how the universe operates. Slow justice, perfect timing. They called themselves untouchable, giants, legends, leaders, but every false leader eventually forgets that respect isn't inherited, it's earned. They thought loyalty was control, but real loyalty only follows integrity. The universe was just waiting for their mask to slip. And you, chosen one, were the mirror that showed the world the difference between borrowed greatness and the real thing. And when you made them feel small, that wasn't cruelty. it was alignment. The universe never humiliates, it harmonizes. It simply brought them back to their true size. You didn't shrink them, you just stopped standing beneath them. Let's look at it from another metaphor. When the tide goes out, it doesn't attack the ships. It simply reveals which ones were never seaworthy. Some ships were anchored deep, they'll survive. But the shallow ones, the flashy ones built for attention, end up stranded and exposed. That's what's happening now. The false thrones, whether they're individuals, companies, or entire systems, are sinking. You, chosen one, are the tide. Now you might ask, will they come back stronger? Maybe they'll try. False thrones always try to rebuild quickly, but speed is their curse. Truth takes its time. Illusion rushes. That's why every comeback they attempt looks desperate. Every public smile hides panic. Every new project smells of fear. And every word they speak trembles with the echo of the fall you triggered. So let this be your reminder. You didn't steal anything from them. You didn't wish for their fall. You simply existed as proof that light doesn't fake itself. Your authenticity was the earthquake. Your peace was the rebellion. Your growth, quiet and unstoppable, was the end of their illusion. And one day when you look back, you'll realize this entire collapse wasn't about revenge or karma. It was about balance. The universe doesn't destroy, it reorders. The false thrones had to sink so that space could exist for real ones to rise. And that's you. You are the throne that doesn't need a crown, because your power doesn't sit above others. It stands within truth. So keep walking with that quiet fire. Let the fallen learn from their fall. Let the noise of their collapse become the rhythm of your rise. And when they whisper your name with bitterness, remember this: history doesn't remember the giants who fell. It remembers the light that made them fall. You are that light, chosen one. The real, unfiltered kind that doesn't need applause. The kind that reminds the universe why false thrones never last. Because truth, no matter how long it waits, always returns to reclaim the crown. Number 2. The spotlight they stole just burned them. False light burns brightest right before it dies, and those who stole it never realize they're standing too close to their own fire until it burns the very mask off their face. Chosen one, that's exactly what's happening right now. The spotlight they once claimed as their own, the light they built through manipulation, performance, and illusion, has turned against them. They spent years trying to outshine others, but they never realized that the light they projected wasn't real. It was stolen, borrowed, and built on empty validation. And when something isn't real, the universe eventually calls for its return. The light they took from others, from you, has come back home, and what's left behind is just smoke, heat, and embarrassment. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture a stage covered in glitter, loud music, and flashing lights. The crowd is cheering, the actors are smiling, and everything looks perfect. But as the show goes on, one of the stage lights flickers, then another, and suddenly there's a single beam of real sunlight peeking through the curtain. In that instant, the entire illusion collapses. The paint on their faces looks unnatural. The fake gold starts to peel. The stage makeup melts. That sunlight was you. Your authenticity was the natural light that made every artificial shine look desperate. You see, real light never needs to compete. It doesn't chase attention, it commands it. The universe designed you to be the type of person who doesn't need to perform for recognition. You are the recognition. The people who once tried to imitate your energy or copy your grace thought they could maintain their performance forever, but pretending to be light is exhausting. They thought you were naive, unaware, or too quiet to notice what they were doing. the subtle mockery, the attempts to mirror your words, your rhythm, your energy. But what they didn't understand is that stolen light has a time limit. Let's talk about it from a deeper perspective. Psychologically, when people rely on projection, when they build a public image that doesn't match who they truly are, they enter what experts call imposter fatigue. Over time, the brain starts to rebel against the act. Their smiles get forced, their tone becomes shaky, and their presence loses weight. It's not you exposing them, it's their own nervous system rejecting the lie. That's why, when your real light appears, it hurts them. Your calm confidence reminds them of everything they faked. They see in you what they wanted others to believe about them. Take it from history, this pattern never fails. Look at artists, leaders, or influencers who built their fame on copying, pretending, or exaggerating. The moment someone authentic comes along, their spotlight turns toxic. The same audience that once cheered for them starts seeing the cracks. Think of Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. Edison had the money, the attention, the spotlight. But Tesla had the genius. Edison's fame was borrowed. Tesla's brilliance was eternal. The crowd may have cheered for the louder man, but time remembered the real light. And that's you, chosen one, the one time remembers. You are the quiet but permanent flame that truth protects. They didn't see it coming. They thought you were small, harmless, easily ignored. They thought they could take your ideas, your energy, your kindness, and use it to feed their own image. But the universe doesn't allow counterfeit light to last. It lets them borrow it for a season, just so their exposure becomes poetic when it ends. Here's a fact that'll make you smile. Even in science, artificial light sources, LEDs, spotlights, fluorescent bulbs, degrade much faster than natural light. The human body even reacts differently to real sunlight versus artificial light. One nourishes, the other drains. You are the sunlight, chosen one, nourishing, natural, impossible to imitate. They are the fluorescent bulb, bright but cold, short-lived and prone to burnout. You might ask, why did the universe let them shine for so long? Because truth doesn't rush. The universe allows illusion to exist for a time, so when it finally collapses, no one can deny the contrast. It lets the fake sparkle long enough for everyone to see what it truly was, a projection, not power. Your moment of exposure isn't random, it's cosmic timing. When false light burns out, real light takes its place effortlessly. But here's the twist they never expected. The spotlight they stole to glorify themselves became their own interrogation lamp. The same attention they used to inflate their image is now the same light exposing every lie. Every smile looks stiff, every post feels hollow, every word trembles with self-consciousness. That's how the universe balances energy. It turns deception into self-destruction. They aren't being punished, they're just standing too close to their own fire. Let's use a metaphor from nature. Moths chase artificial light, thinking it's the moon. They flutter around it endlessly, burning their wings in the process. But the moon doesn't move for them, doesn't compete, doesn't apologize. It stays still, shining as it always has. The moths eventually fall, but the moon remains untouched. You are that moon. You didn't chase, you simply stayed true to your orbit. Their downfall was their obsession with imitation. You see, authenticity is dangerous to those addicted to attention. It makes their achievements look rehearsed and their confidence look hollow. They hate that your light doesn't come from performance, but presence. And deep down, that's why they talk about you when you're not there. That's why they try to minimize you, why they whisper, why they stare in silence when you walk in. Because even their words can't compete with what your energy already said. You're the real one. Chosen one, remember this. Your glow doesn't need to dim to keep others comfortable. The universe didn't put you here to blend in with artificial lights. It put you here to remind the world what authenticity feels like. And yes, when you shine, the fake ones will squirm. They'll gossip, imitate, or even try to twist your truth. But that's not your problem. That's their skin peeling under exposure. Some of the greatest names in history were once accused of being too much, too different, or too bright. Yet they never dimmed. Think of Maya Angelou, who wrote, "Nothing can dim the light that shines from within." They tried to silence her, misrepresent her, but her voice outlived the noise. Or think of Freddie Mercury, mocked for his flamboyance, criticized for his authenticity, yet his art outshone every critic. Giants fall, but real light, your kind of light, echoes forever. So the next time they look your way with envy or disdain, understand this: they aren't seeing you, they're seeing their reflection in the light they tried to fake. You didn't steal their attention, you reclaimed what was never theirs to hold. The spotlight isn't a weapon, it's a truth detector. It burns the imposters and blesses the authentic. That's why it's called light. So stand tall, chosen one. Don't step back into the shadows to make them comfortable. Let their false glow fade into history while your steady flame keeps rising. Because at the end of every performance, the stage lights shut off, the audience leaves, and only one light remains, the one that never needed electricity, applause, or validation to burn. That light is you. You didn't outshine them. You simply reminded the world that real light doesn't flicker. It transforms everything it touches. Number 3. You made the room awkward for pretenders. When truth walks into the room, every mask starts sweating. Chosen one, that's exactly what happens when you arrive. You don't even have to say a word. Your silence alone makes pretenders nervous. Their jokes dry up, their smiles freeze, and that easy confidence they had around everyone else suddenly disappears. Why? Because you carry something that can't be faked: authenticity. You are what they pretend to be. And when the real thing enters the room, every imitation instinctively bows or hides. You didn't embarrass them, you simply turned the lights on. Now imagine this for a second, chosen one. A room full of performers, fake laughter, loud opinions, the kind of confidence that only works when no one real is watching. They feel comfortable in their echo chamber until you step in. Suddenly, their own words sound hollow. The stories they used to brag about start to crumble under the weight of your energy. They fidget. They avoid eye contact. They talk too much to cover the silence that your presence creates. You've become the test the universe sends to reveal what's real and what's rehearsed. And it's not because you expose people intentionally. Your very vibration does it for you. The universe made you a frequency of truth. Those who live by performance can't breathe in it for long. Just your presence reminds them of what they abandoned: integrity, humility, and self-awareness. It's the same reason counterfeit coins fear the heat. Real gold doesn't melt, but fake gold always panics when things get warm. You are that heat. Here's what's really happening. Their nervousness isn't about you. It's about them realizing how much of their identity is borrowed. You make people confront themselves without ever pointing a finger. You walk into rooms that once felt like thrones for pretenders and shift the entire atmosphere. The vibration changes from shallow to sacred, from performance to presence. That's not arrogance, chosen one. That's alignment. The universe walks with you, and where truth walks, illusion trembles. You might ask, why do they act weird around me? I didn't do anything exactly. That's the point. You didn't have to. You carry the kind of energy that cancels comfort for anyone living a lie. Think about it. Even scientific research proves that people subconsciously mirror the emotional and moral tone of those around them. Your integrity forces them to adjust their behavior. You're not intimidating, you're recalibrating the frequency of the room. So don't take their awkwardness personally. It's not rejection, it's reflection. The universe is using you to shift energy, to raise standards, to remind pretenders that no mask survives honesty. Let them whisper, let them avoid you, let them play it cool while internally unraveling. You're not the problem, you're the truth they can't digest. Remember this, light doesn't apologize for being bright just because shadows feel exposed. The universe doesn't dim the sun to protect the moon's ego, and neither should you. Keep walking into those rooms with quiet confidence. Keep letting your energy speak first. You don't have to defend your presence. The universe already validated it. Pretenders will always feel uncomfortable because deep down they know you didn't come to blend in. You came to make them see themselves. So stay still, chosen one. Don't shrink, don't explain, don't overthink the tension. It's not hostility, it's transformation. You were sent to make fake comfort collapse, to awaken what's asleep, and to remind the world that truth doesn't fit in. It resets the entire atmosphere. Number 4. Power doesn't shout, it radiates. True power doesn't roar, it rearranges the room without saying a word. Chosen one, that's what they never understood about you. The loudest ones always mistook volume for influence. They thought power came from shouting, from taking up space, from forcing others to notice them. But you never needed an audience. You walk in quiet, composed, unbothered, and somehow that still silences every voice that tries too hard to be heard. That's because real power doesn't need permission to be seen. It's naturally magnetic. Now imagine this, chosen one. A lion doesn't have to roar every second to remind the jungle who it is. It's the silence before the roar that holds the most weight. The stillness of the lion sends waves through the savannah, not the noise. You carry that same essence. While they were busy performing strength, you became strength. While they needed followers to validate them, your validation came from within. Your calm isn't weakness, it's control. Science even backs this up. Studies show that calm, self-regulated individuals project higher authority and trustworthiness than those who constantly assert dominance. The human brain is wired to sense stability. And stability feels like safety. So when you walk into a space grounded, focused, and centered, everyone's subconscious recognizes you as the anchor. That's why they fall silent. That's why their confidence wavers. Your stillness feels like gravity. It pulls attention without demanding it. And that's what crushed them. The ones who used to dominate the room with noise now find themselves shrinking in your silence. They can't explain it, but your energy speaks louder than their speeches ever could. The universe made your calm disruptive, not the kind that destroys for ego, but the kind that dismantles everything fake. You became the earthquake that came without a warning, shaking their illusion of control. So don't mistake their discomfort for hate. It's recognition. They feel your energy the way the ocean feels the pull of the moon. You don't chase validation. It drifts toward you naturally. That's why they whisper when you leave, why they mock what they secretly admire. You remind them that power doesn't perform, it exists. Keep being that calm storm, chosen one. Let them roar, let them posture, let them exhaust themselves with noise. The universe favors those who can command energy through presence, not panic. Your silence is your signature, and every pretender who used to shout now knows the truth. They never had power, they just had volume. Number 5. The universe is pulling their curtain down. When the curtain falls, it's not destruction, it's revelation. The show ends, and the truth takes center stage. Chosen one, the universe isn't punishing them, it's simply cleaning house. Every illusion eventually runs out of audience, and the false giants you exposed were living on borrowed applause. Their power was built like a stage set, painted walls, scripted confidence, and lights that only worked as long as people believed in them. But the moment your presence entered the room, the vibration shifted. The universe whispered, "Enough pretending." And suddenly, the curtain they hid behind couldn't stay up any longer. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Picture a theater after the final act. The actors are still trying to bow, but the lights go out, the props crumble, and the audience walks away. That's what's happening to them. Their entire existence depended on performance, and you walked in with raw authenticity. You didn't tear the curtain down. The universe simply stopped sponsoring the lie. You see, false thrones are temporary because they're powered by illusion. The universe operates on frequency, not fakery. And when someone vibrates at a deceitful frequency, that energy eventually collapses in on itself. It's like a tower made of smoke. It may look solid, but the moment the wind of truth blows, it vanishes. That's what's happening now. The spotlight they stole has turned into heat, and it's burning through every layer of their disguise. You didn't curse them, you corrected them. Exposure is how balance returns to the world. Remember, nature always equalizes. Forest fires burn away decay so new life can grow. The same thing happens in energy. Their exposure isn't revenge, it's restoration. The universe is removing what no longer matches the vibration of truth, and you, chosen one, are that truth in motion. So let them panic as their empire flickers. Let them scramble to tape the curtain back up. It won't work. The show is over, and the audience has seen what's real. You were never there to destroy. You were there to illuminate. And when the universe uses you as the light, shadows can't survive. So stand tall, chosen one. Don't feel pity for their downfall. They wrote the script. You just arrived as the ending. The universe isn't being cruel, it's being accurate. The mighty didn't fall. They were never mighty. The curtain didn't collapse. Truth simply stopped pretending. Number 6. When you rise, shadows panic. When you stop feeding shadows with your attention, they don't disappear, they panic. Chosen one, that's why your rise rattled the room. For years, they ate from your doubt, drank from your silence, and lived off your need to be liked. They built small empires on your hesitation and called it power. But the moment you grew, the menu closed. Your boundaries cut the pipeline. Your clarity turned off the faucet. Like parasites losing their host, they're starving, not for food, but for relevance. Now imagine this for a moment. A leech on still water looks unbothered, confident even. Then the current shifts. The water starts moving, getting brighter, cleaner, faster. The leech can't hold on. That current is your evolution. Your velocity shook off everything that only survives in stagnation. You might ask, why are they suddenly so bitter? Why the random jabs, the quiet smear, the sudden coldness? Because your progress stole their oxygen. Performers need an audience. Controllers need compliance. Pretenders need your silence. You took all of that back. Here's a simple truth the universe always honors. Attention is energy, and energy is nutrition. When you stop feeding what's false, it withers. When you start feeding what's real, it multiplies. That's why your life feels lighter and their noise feels louder. Their volume is a hunger pang. There's science to this too. Behavioral studies show that manipulative personalities escalate tactics when their control weakens, not because they're stronger, but because they're fading. The spike is proof of decline. So don't misread their frenzy. It's not power, it's withdrawal. Your new light triggers their oldest fear, being seen for what they are without your cover. You were the shade that kept their image cool. Your sunrise makes their costume overheat. Remember, the universe is with you. Growth is not a personal attack, it's a natural law. Seeds break shells, eagles shed feathers to fly higher, even stars collapse a little to burn brighter. Your rise is an ecosystem adjusting to truth. Let them flail while you focus forward. Questions will come. Should I explain? Should I chase closure? No. Your evolution is the explanation. Closure is the silence after you stop responding. The universe will translate what words can't. So keep expanding. Keep choosing purpose over performance, peace over attention, creation over competition. Shadows don't hate the light because it fights them. They hate it because it ignores them and keeps shining. Stand in your radiance, chosen one. The panic you're hearing is the sound of irrelevance losing its last grip. Number 7. The universe promotes in silence. Seeds grow in silence. Trees don't announce their roots before they rise. Chosen one, that's the part they never understood. While they were busy showing off progress, you were creating it. They mistook your stillness for weakness, your quiet for hesitation. But what they called inactivity was incubation. You weren't buried, you were planted. And there's a big difference between the two. The buried are forgotten, the planted are prepared. The universe hid you in the dark, not to punish you, but to prepare you for sunlight that others couldn't survive under. Now imagine this for a moment. A seed doesn't panic when it's covered in dirt. It doesn't fight the pressure. It transforms under it. Its silence is not surrender. It's strategy. You were that seed. The universe wrapped you in soil, in isolation, in uncertainty, so you could grow roots deep enough to hold the empire you were destined to build. And now that you've broken through the surface, the same ones who laughed at your silence are choking on the pollen of your success. This is cosmic law. The universe always promotes in silence. When it's your time to rise, it doesn't need to send a memo. The reward for patience is precision. You bloomed at the exact moment they thought you were gone. And that's what makes your rise so poetic. They bragged about speed, but speed without direction always circles back to nothing. You built with patience, and patience built your empire. It's like bamboo. It spends years growing underground before shooting up feet in just weeks. That's why your sudden rise looks overnight to them. They didn't see the years of pressure, healing, shadow work, and quiet evolution. They only see the bloom, not the buried storm behind it. But you know. You remember every lonely night that taught you resilience, every rejection that built your character, every delay that was really divine timing. So don't apologize for your success, chosen one. The universe handpicked your timeline. While they performed for attention, you prepared for impact. Now, your results speak louder than their noise ever did. And here's the irony. The same people who mocked your stillness now study your movement. They once called you forgotten. Now they call you unstoppable. Keep moving in silence. Keep letting your results do the talking. The universe doesn't promote noise. It promotes readiness. You didn't rise to be seen. You rose because you were ready. And that, chosen one, is what separates the planted from the buried. Number 8. Their ego was their earthquake. Ego is a shaky throne. The louder it stands, the harder it collapses when truth steps into the room. Chosen one, they pointed at you and called you the threat, but the ground didn't crack because you walked in. It cracked because their pride was already hollow. Ego builds like a tower of glass, impressive at a distance, lethal up close. They stacked titles, applause, and borrowed confidence without laying a real foundation, and then wondered why the first tremor, your calm presence, turned into an earthquake. Your silence wasn't an attack. It was gravity, and gravity doesn't argue with a falling object. It simply proves what's unstable. Now imagine this for a moment. A mansion rises fast on a beach, all angles and cameras, champagne in the foyer. It looks eternal until the tide returns to collect what was never anchored. That tide is the universe. Their pride became quicksand the moment they mistook attention for authority. They weren't destroyed by your excellence. They sank because they never learned to stand without a crowd propping them up. Your restraint made their noise echo. Your stillness measured their depth and exposed there wasn't much there. Here's the psychology underneath it. Research on narcissistic structures shows that when their external validation drops, their internal stability plunges with it. That panic is the aftershock you're seeing. The smear, the sudden distance, the desperate reinventions. It isn't strength, it's collapse. They built an identity on applause, and your authenticity unplugged the speakers. The earthquake they blamed on you was the implosion of a persona that couldn't hold its own weight. Real power doesn't shatter under silence, only performance does. You might ask, should I help them, defend myself, explain? No, explanations won't cure a fault line. The universe already issued the correction. Anything built on ego must meet gravity. Your role isn't to rescue what refuses to rebuild with humility. Your role is to keep walking on bedrock, principles, discipline, integrity. Let them learn what the ground teaches all towers. Height without depth is a promise of collapse. You didn't push, you proved. And proof is undefeated. So stand steady, keep your center. Let their dust settle while you keep building below the surface where earthquakes can't reach. Giants only truly stand when humility is the foundation. You cannot be shaken by their aftershocks because your rise wasn't a stunt. It was structure. The universe is with you, chosen one. And in the end, the only thing that falls is what refused to be grounded. Number 9. You're the mirror they can't escape. Mirrors don't chase liars. They simply stand there and make pretending impossible. Chosen one, that's why they can't shake you. You aren't following them, mentioning them, or plotting anything in the shadows. Yet everywhere they go, your presence echoes like a quiet bell that won't stop ringing. You live rent-free in their mind, not because you haunt them, but because you revealed them. You showed the room the difference between what's performed and what's real. And once truth is seen, it can't be unseen. They can copy your words, mimic your cadence, even borrow your style. But they can't fake what you naturally are. That realization hurts more than any revenge ever could, because there's no way to win against a mirror except to become honest. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one, a corridor lined with polished glass. A pretender sprints from pain to pain, searching for a version of themselves that looks powerful, but every reflection shows the same thing. Panic behind a practiced smile. They try to fog the glass with excuses, tilt it with gossip, throw a sheet over it with performance. Yet your presence cuts through like sunrise on clean water. The reflection returns sharper, brighter, undeniable. You didn't trap them, their own image did. There's a psychology to why they can't let you go. When someone's public mask and private self don't match, the mind experiences dissonance. The symbol for that dissonance is you. You are the unresolved chord in their head, the unfinished task the brain keeps circling back to, what researchers call the Zeigarnik effect. Each time your name is whispered, each time your work appears, their nervous system revisits the gap between who they claim to be and who they are. That tension doesn't fade because you're not attacking them. You're exposing a choice they refuse to make. And here's where your power multiplies. You never needed to push the mirror in their face. You just kept it clean. By living aligned, by speaking plain, by choosing work over theatrics. The universe made you reflective, not reactive. That's why silence works in your favor. Their attempts to smear only polish the mirror. Their noise only makes the contrast clearer. The more they perform, the more obvious your authenticity becomes. So when doubts creep in, should I respond? Should I clap back? Should I soften my light? The answer is no. Truth doesn't chase, it reflects. Your job is to keep your mirror spotless, boundaries firm, purpose-focused, path steady. Let them wrestle with their own reflection while you walk forward. The universe is with you, and momentum is your reply. Remember this, chosen one. History forgets the actors who dodged the mirror, but it never forgets the ones who held it still and made the world braver by looking. Keep shining, keep reflecting. The echo they hear is not your footsteps behind them, it's their conscience catching up. Number 10. You've entered observation season. Silence is not surrender. It's the vantage point where truth watches lies collapse on their own. Chosen one, you've entered observation season. This is where you don't chase, you don't clap back, you don't correct the narrative. You simply watch as the energy they sent out returns with receipts. The universe doesn't need your fists. It uses gravity. Every rumor they launched, every scheme they rehearsed, every little performance they staged to dim you, it's circling. Boomerangs don't need direction once they're thrown. They only need time. Your job now is restraint with vision. Don't react. Observe. Now imagine this for a moment. You're on a cliff at dawn, watching waves pound a castle of sand that once looked majestic under moonlight. No bulldozer, no war, just the tide doing what the tide does, reclaiming what was never solid. That's how false light fails. It doesn't explode, it evaporates. The longer you stand still, the more obvious the erosion becomes. They will call it bad luck. It's not. It's physics of character. You might ask, should I defend myself? Should I post proof? Should I warn people? No. Let the universe publish the truth the way it always does, through outcomes. Notice who backtracks, who suddenly grows quiet, who starts rebranding without admitting why. That's consequence, not coincidence. When the current turns, those who swam on borrowed tide feel the undertow first. Here's the law at work. Attention is fuel. Reaction feeds what you're trying to starve. Observation denies it oxygen. Darkness consumes itself when there's no light left to steal. They're discovering that now, that your distance was the power they underestimated. Without your presence to siphon from, their relevance flickers like a dying bulb. Every plot they crafted is a closed loop returning home. And remember, the universe is with you. It's not passive, it's precise. Look for the subtle tells, the ally who stops answering their calls, the door that quietly closes, the apology that never arrives but shows up as changed behavior. Keep notes if you must, not for revenge, but for clarity. Your lesson is to master patience as a weapon of wisdom. So stand tall at the edge of the cliff and watch the tide work. No gloating, no speeches, just awareness. Your focus is forward, building, healing, expanding. Let their noise dissolve in the distance. Observation season is not about coldness. It's about conservation of energy. Invest yours where it multiplies, in your craft, your peace, your purpose. When false light runs out, there is no battle to win. There is only daylight to enjoy. Number 11. Rule the day. The night was never yours. The night looks powerful only until the horizon answers, and when your sun arrives, every borrowed light admits it was pretending. Chosen one, you were never designed to survive on artificial glow. You are daylight, not decoration. They thrived in the dark because the rules are easier there. Shadows stretch, rumors travel, performance passes for power. But the moment you rose, the room recalibrated. Streetlights that once felt majestic turned into noisy distractions, and the faces that leaned on moonlight realized its limit. It can imitate brightness, but it cannot warm a single thing. You are warmth. You are clarity. You are the morning that cancels their theater. Walk boldly, no tiptoeing. The universe didn't train you through midnight just to have you whisper at dawn. Now imagine this for a moment. A city that learned to love neon because it forgot the sun. People praised the signs, the blinking ads, the loud colors that sold illusions as direction. Then sunrise breaks. Instantly, every neon claim looks cheap. The roads are obvious. The map is visible. The truth was never complicated. It was simply waiting for light. That's what your arrival does. You didn't make anyone small. The glare of honesty revealed their true size. Their lies shrank them. Your presence measured them. You might ask, is it cruel to keep shining when others are uncomfortable? No, daylight doesn't apologize to moths. It just keeps the sky honest. The result is mercy, not malice. Real work begins when the pretense ends. The universe stands with you in this. It didn't crown you to compete with lamps. It positioned you to retire them. Truth doesn't hustle for attention. It changes the atmosphere. Your calm is forecast. Your movement is weather. Your voice is the temperature shift that tells everyone the season has changed. Here's the law. When the sun rises, the night does not negotiate. Darkness doesn't file a complaint. It leaves. That's why the old tactics fail now. The gossip, the subtle sabotage, the borrowed charisma. They were strategies for midnight. Day rules differently. It rewards clarity, preparation, and integrity. Keep building where everyone can see. Keep choosing work over noise, substance over spectacle. If someone insists on thriving in shadows, let them. They will simply be absent when decisions are made in the open. So hold your posture and claim the morning. Let your standards be the daylight others set their clocks to. No more shrinking to make room for counterfeit stars. You are the sunrise they didn't plan for, and the end of a night that lasted too long. Truth doesn't compete. It wins by illuminating the field and letting results speak. Step forward, chosen one. Rule the day. The night was never yours.